Thank you, Mona.
Thank you. Hi, folks. My name is Julianne Arsenault. I'm a director of GTM here in Worldwide Learning at Microsoft, and this is my colleague.
Hi, I'm Sandra. You all look dashing. Not because I have a bright light on me, but you all look perfect. Thank you.
We love seeing your smiling faces, and thanks for joining us for this session. Today, we want to take a little bit of time out of your presence here at Build to talk to you about skills, and specifically AI skills. So we're going to drill down into essentially what the state of the business is right now for AI skilling. What are the opportunities? What are we seeing as challenges? And then the other thing to remember that we want to make sure that you take away is that we at Microsoft not only develop the AI products, but we also use those. We're customer zero. So as we do that, we do have some learnings. And out of those learnings, we do share those with our customers and come up with some best practices that hopefully we can share with you today and that you can benefit from our experience. And then finally, we're going to wrap it up with some resources. So Sandra and I work at Worldwide Learning. Worldwide Learning in Microsoft is an organization that is entirely dedicated to skilling individuals. So whether it is customers, partners, employees, students, teachers, even my mom, everybody is our target audience for AI skilling. So we're excited to share with you a little bit about where to start, or maybe just where to keep going, essentially. So let's dive in. So 5 drivers of AI value. So AI is obviously not a trend. We figured that one out. It's here to stay. It's transformative. There's a lot of value in it. What's important to note is that we have to be careful about just implementing AI just for AI's sake. As we think about implementing AI, we should really be starting with what our objective is as our first thought and first way to approach it. So here at Microsoft, we talked to a lot of customers and partners to figure out how they were approaching AI. What was successful for them, where they found not only success, but where did they find ways to accelerate and make sure that they avoided some of their blind spots. And so there were certainly some commonalities across those, which was really interesting. And those are the commonalities that we observed. So first and foremost, organization and culture, making sure to think about AI as foundational in terms of the operating model, in terms of the strategy, et cetera. And so that was very important for them to think about. Business strategy, which talks about the objective, right? Starting with the objective in mind when you think about AI implementation. And then followed by applied AI experience. That one is all around, hey, do you have the talent that you need in your organization to make sure that that's successful? AI governance, all around, hey, do we have the right constructs and processes in place to make sure that we're able to govern it? AI appropriately in our organization. And then finally, technology strategy. Do we have the right quality data? Do we have the right infrastructure? Is it secure enough? So these were the things that were essentially the 5 common areas that really helped them make sure that their implementation was successful. And we have that white paper there, so if you want to check it out and read more about it, that's really interesting to dive into. Today, we're focusing on applied AI experience, and that's where the skills come in. So, spoiler alert, skills are super foundational to successful AI adoption. It's crucial. You can't get away from it. Imagine trying to use a new appliance without an instruction book, even though my husband does that sometimes and it doesn't always turn out good. Well, similarly for AI, you need some skills, you need some context, you need the AI fluency, in terms of technical skills to make it successful. So when we look at Gen AI, when we look at AI, the growth is just mind-boggling. When we think about the internet took 7 years to get to 100 million users. ChatGPT got there in 2 months. So that gives you a sense of like the speed of growth that we're seeing with AI. We're also seeing that with adoption within enterprises. So within enterprises, 75% of enterprises in 2024 had adopted or implemented AI in some way, shape, or form. And so that's a 55% increase just from the year prior, which is also setting growth. Now, the technology is going like this. Unfortunately, skills are not going at that same hockey stick direction. Skills are still growing, but they're not quite there, and we're seeing that skills gap really increase. And so that is something that is highly concerning to us, but also to organization leaders. 55% of leaders are really concerned whether they even have the talent to fulfill their AI aspirations that they have in mind. So, so that's something that we see actually as a huge opportunity. So AI skills will unlock business value. They'll also unlock innovation. And so that's important. It unlocks a number of things across the board for the organizations, whether it is productivity for employees, whether it's growth for the company, whether it's being able to outpace your competitors, or whether it's fostering more resilience within the organization. So when you think about AI, it really impacts a number of different factors across the organization. And so because of that, we need to think about AI skilling differently. We talked about the skills gap increasing. Well, when we think about AI, we need to think about how each person and each role in the organization has a part to play in terms of AI adoption. So whether that is the tech teams, that's always the first of mind, right? Skilling the tech teams to make sure that you've got the right skills, you're building some of the solutions, you're making sure to prepare the IT infrastructure to be ready to receive that. Beyond that, we also need to think about our leaders. Leaders need to have sufficient AI fluency to be able to incorporate that in their strategy and think about that as part of their business strategy going forward. And then there's the business users. Business users, line of business users across the board need to be able to know how to use AI in their day-to-day. And that's really important. That will increase productivity, increase quality of work, super, super important. And then there's AI fluency, responsible AI, prompting. Those things cut across all roles in the organization. So there's functional training, but then there's training that is required for all roles within the organization to be able to have the right context. So I spoke before that we at Worldwide Learning, not Worldwide, Microsoft, all up, our customer zero for our products. And so we've learned quite a bit along the way. And so Sandra's going to share a little bit more about what those learnings are and those best practices.
Yeah, so as customer zero, we started our AI learning journey like 2 years ago. Like we released AI and suddenly it's like, we must use AI. And a lot of teams was like, I'm not technical team, this is not for me. And guess what? As Julian was saying, the whole organization needs to embrace this, otherwise it's not gonna work. So we started to experiment. How do we skill up our different teams? We were pretty good at skilling up our technical teams, our developers, our IT pros. Technical people are very self-sufficient to skill up, but this was getting HR, marketing, finance, our legal teams. Like, how do we start with them? So it's been a journey. It's been 2 years. We keep learning. But one of the things that we focused on was on like what each team needs. Marketing uses AI in a different way than our finance or our legal team or our technical team. So every team has different requirements on how they are going to use this. Therefore, they have different skills needs also. So basically, we've been tailoring our training, our internal training, to adjust to starting from the business goal, how this organization or this team is going to use AI. And based on that, we've been creating and refining our training. But it's a company-wide exercise. Like everybody in Microsoft, according to their role, according to their organization, is getting AI training, but it's adjusted, it's customized, but everybody is using it. So we've been learning. We have best practices. We have documented all these practices. I'll give you the link to the paper. And we've learned a few things. give a space for exploration. Like people need to go and experiment. So this is not the kind of lecture training. This is go and try the technology, go and figure it out, play with it. And then you're gonna get the gist of it. And leadership has a big role here, lead by example. So Julian was mentioning leaders at the company need to acquire certain skills, but they also need to start using this. They need the strategy and the fluency to know how am I gonna use AI, but they also need to have a flavor, taste it, and start using it. Make learning fun. That's, in AI, is fantastic because you get to play and you get to adjust AI at work and AI in real life and at home. So it's a nice area where you can actually make it fun. Like we have a lot of internal contests. We have the Copilot Cup in the sales organization. And we have this competition, like what team is winning in daily usage. And it's really interesting because people get excited. Like the competition always, the points always bring something. Clear structure paths. So this is something that, because AI need to be adjusted to your role and in context of what you do and the goals that you have, sometimes there is so many information. You go and look for AI training and you're gonna have thousands of resources. So our people was getting overwhelmed, like, okay, I need to learn AI, but where do you want me to start? So that was something important for us to make sure that we were creating these learning paths, and those learning paths were role specific. So we had a different learning path for our sellers, for our technical sellers, for our marketers, all in context of how they were going to use it in their roles. And then a lot of people, you need to start with the foundations. Like you would think because AI is there and everyone know that is there, people know. Guess what? A lot of people, even inside of Microsoft, they were feeling afraid because they didn't know the basics. So that's super important. Start with the foundations and build from there. And you are gonna have a lot of information, but help people easy into it. We need to just lose not to be afraid of that. And people were really anxious and it felt overwhelming. So starting with the foundations, with the easy stuff, and then you can go from there. Number 6, have a plan to update. This is critical because this is changing week over week. The pace of change in AI is just overwhelming. So if you have very rigid content, it's gonna be outdated a month from now. So you need to figure out how you're gonna plan those trainings so you can update them at the same pace that the technology is changing. Awareness and continued adoption. This is one of those things that we get constant reminders like, hey, we have this training, go get it, go use it. People need to start feeling like this is their daily job. This can help them to do their job. So it requires a little bit of like reminders and reminders and reminders. Set clear guidelines for responsible AI. We actually are very thorough on this. We not only as Microsoft preach about responsible AI, but it's a key component in all our training for every role, for every organization, from engineering, how to build following responsible AI guidelines, for marketers, how to do marketing and how to use AI in a responsible way to everybody. This is core foundation. And number 9 is actually one of the best ones. Let employees learn from each other. Peer learning has been foundational to the way we are learning AI. Show and tell sessions. And this is across not only in our technical teams, like everybody's like, oh, I learned how to do this. I found the best prompt to do X. and people are sharing. It grows organically, and people are getting more and more information and sharing easier, so this is good. And then you don't necessarily need to start from scratch. There is a lot of information there, and we've been working a lot. We are the learning organizations, so we have a lot of resources. We're going to show you really quick. So take the picture here. This is a paper where we have these practices documented, and we're going to show you a couple of additional links.
Yeah. Take your pictures. We'll switch slides. You've got more pictures to take.
We are unfortunately out of time, so we're going to go really quickly through these.
Just for the pictures.
Absolutely.
2 pictures.
And come and visit us. We are somewhere over there. Microsoft Learn all the way to the end, and we'll keep talking over there.